it was all about getting people into those places to see bands. There were some amazing reunion gigs. A lesser known fact about me is I used to manage Prawns with Horns for about, I don't even know if it was a year.
Yes, we got a scoop on this podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? And the Prawns did a reunion gig that was like just, it was very sweaty. Was
Where was it? What venue?
It was pre-Honky Tonk, so it was in what became Honky Tonk, but before it had been Honky Tonked, so...
Honky Tonk's got a bloody line out the front now with like, what do they call it? The barricades that guide the line. I've gone blank on the word, but
totally.
And it's 20-year-olds. And you're like, nobody has figured out how to get 20-year-olds out of their house. Like,
and who knew it was line dancing, right?
And no one with a peanut allergy either, because that's like that
also
kind of
that. Darling is also a bad choice for most people.
That's one of my favorite spots actually. Just getting in a nook, and a memory I have forever is Mum came in here to do some work and then she's like, let's go for a drink, screw this work thing.
I love your mum.
Yeah, worst influence for someone trying to get something done.
Yeah.
And so we just sort of walked down there and I've heard about this little place, let's push into that. And we managed to get a corner spot, the Chesterfields, and just sat there talking all night, drinking like Dark and Stormies. And I'm like, I'm going to have this memory forever for that. And so I think for me, that's kind of the beauty of Freo. Listen to the locals and find those kind of spots. Mm. Do you have any little like tips for anybody that's listening to Fremantle, places that you love?
Look, I keep still discovering things still today that I love. Like, I think that's one of the kind of treats of my job is you've got an excuse to kind of nosy around anything new. So, whether it's like Top Coffee, which has just opened up near our building and where it seems everyone gets their coffee now, and you chat to those guys and they're roasting their own coffee and they're inventing, what were they calling them? Cruffins? Custard muffins. Anyway, highly recommend Cuffins.
Yeah.
And it's not just the places, it's the characters, it's the people in them. Auntie Lucy's Cakery. Have you had a Auntie Lucy?
No, I try to avoid cake.
Well, yeah, but also nah, it would be terrible to be gluten-free actually as well, because the new Common Bakery down on High Street, I mean, terrible Danishes. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, you can't stop finding little secret treasures in Freo.
And what is it that keeps you up at night? Things that, you would love to do but seem unachievable, or you can't quite make it work, or is there something that you personally have an ambition for Fremantle and you just would love the community to get behind you and go, right, let's push this?
Look, I think, I don't know if this is quite the sort of answer to your question, but I struggle with my own impatience, and I think that's
I thought you were going to say imposter syndrome for a second there.
No, I don't.
I'm the mayor. I'll send assassins after anyone trying to take my office.
No, I did 10 years running women in leadership programs. In fact, I'm still, so imposter syndrome I could probably write a dissertation on, but thankfully that's also given me a chance to get over it and realise that we're all just humans trying to do our human jobs in the world.
Yep.
No, impatience is hard for me. Like I see so many things I would like to do yesterday, and I feel frustrated that they can't happen. And, I think I use the analogy of, there's got two ends of string that we're trying to tie into a bow and they're just not long enough. You kind of constantly at that sort of stress point of trying to make things happen. And there's a lot of things that we, rightfully we've got to go through procurement processes and they've got to be according to the Local Government Act and, all those kind of perfectly good reasons why things take, a year sometimes to happen, even though they're common sense things that you think, well, that should happen yesterday. And I think having worked in small business for a while, you've got that agility to just kind of make a decision and do it. And local government doesn't work like that. So I think it's a healthy thing to have that tension of an impatient mayor working with a compliant and, ambitious. They're not compliant in a negative way, but they do need to be compliant administration to get things done. It's probably a balance of power that's healthy.
And if you were to give some tips to people that would like to engage with the City of Fremantle, in my head, I've got to make it an easy yes for you guys. It's like a no-brainer. How do I make it win-win for all the parties and that kind of thing? how do people engage with the city of Freo to get things done?
Well, I can make a suggestion about how to start your sentence. If you come to us with a "I want to" or "I am," and here's how you can help, we are absolutely all ears, and we do really try and get behind local people who are doing awesome things. If you come to us with "you guys should," which is probably my least favourite sentence, why don't you? You guys should. Why haven't you done da-da-da? And a lack of curiosity as to the answer. That's probably the thing that doesn't get the job done. And we'd still try and listen to that. We know that it's difficult to kind of pitch to local government or come up with ideas. And but I hold in my mind this guy who emailed me and said, "I go for a walk every morning and there's rubbish along the side of the place where I walk, and you need to do something more about that."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's funny because, you're walking there every morning and you're seeing the rubbish. Like, I wonder what it would be like for you to pick it up.
Yeah.
Because it's all that, everything we love about our city has been created by individuals going, "Hey, I've got this idea and I'm gonna make that happen somehow." I look at things like the Fremantle Biennale and the passion in the team behind that institution now that's become something that we, if only it was every year. But it's not because local government said, "Oh, we're going to do something about that." It was because passionate individuals said, "This needs to happen."
And I think that's the future of business and actually probably the world. If you look in 100 years, and actually you can even just look at this generation coming through now, they don't form companies or businesses, and having a job wasn't what it used to be. That's not like they're gone are the days where you can just work for 40 years somewhere and that's it, hang up your boots and get a boat. Like, I just don't think the loyalty or the trust and just that exchange isn't the same. So you're seeing, these 20-year-olds coming through and they are unashamedly just themselves. They're a brand unto themselves. They're marketing themselves. And I guess what they're going to learn in the next 10, 20 years is that my generation has learned is that you go faster alone, but you go further with people.
Yeah.
So we might need to explain to them how they can clump together to achieve something great and then, fragment off after that. But if you want to achieve great things, you need to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're so right. And I think, we can all learn from that as well, not be bound by those traditional structures. Try different ways of working and different people to work with. And like you said before, that's always been the strength of Fremantle, has been that you will meet different people doing different things on every single corner. And that's what makes us who we are.
Fantastic. Well, I might let you go back to running the
country.
I was going to say the country of this part of town.
The best part of the country, our favourite part of the country.
What comes next for you after you do that, after you do something like being the mayor?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I grapple with this probably daily, is I think, I think about my old job, which was this leadership coaching and facilitation and working with all kinds of organisations across WA. And it's very tangible, so there's stuff I really love about that, because you do something and then it's done and you're like, tick, yes, great, move on to the next thing. But then there's this draw to public service. So, it's a great question for me, and it's one that I haven't really landed on yet. I like making decisions, so it's hard for me not to know what I'm doing next. But I've got one more year in this role, and I'm just going to give it 110% and continue being kind of impatient.
Well, thank you very much for your service.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Stories Within Stories podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this show. For more stories like this, head to barefootmedia.co.